we have just a little report cover here, okay, that you're going to open up, like so. You're not going to need a lot of ink, and the ink is in front of you. I heartily suggest you store these like this because it is very thick. You're not going to use a lot. Kind of watch what I do first, and I'm going to take that. I don't need a lot. So there's my olive. Now I'm going to pull some of the peacock, and it's not a lot. Like this ink is really going to stretch. So I'm going to add some harbor there and some harbor there. Done. I don't need any more than this. Okay, and you're only going to decorate one sheet. Okay, so watch what I'm going to do. This is water. It's water-based. So we can manipulate it by simply adding water. Even though it is light fast, it is manipulable. It's water-based. It's water cleanup. And look at, because that folder is clear, look at how you can play with that ink. You can see where you're pulling it. Right?
So it's pigment, but it's not oil?
No, pigment is water-based. This is the ink, if you have a new grandson, okay, this is the ink you want to use to do their footprint or their handprint because it's also non-toxic, okay? So you're going to open up that puppy, and you're going to grab your piece of paper, which you stuck over here, and you're just going to print. Now we're only printing one. I will show you what we're doing with the other one afterwards. Ooh, I like it. I want one more spot though. I want some here. You can't do this wrong, by the way.
Can't you use what's on the other side?
You can, but we don't need to. Okay, that's happy, I'm quitting. Now, you're not going to use this, but I can put this away over here on my shelf. And 10 days from now, I can take that out and print some more. Pigment ink is not going to dry on a surface. So this is what I want you to do right now. So simply take the three colors, olive, peacock, and the harbor. Remember, a little goes a long way because we're going to add water and manipulate it. You don't need a lot of ink. Now, how many of you have stores? Anybody own a store? Okay. You work in a store. Okay. I owned a store for over 30 years. We sold every re-inker that there was available for every stamp pad. And basically, we supplied re-inkers to all of Canada because they knew if they need a re-inker for their stamp pad, you are doing your clients and your customers a favor when you're teaching them not to fill landfills full of stamp pads. They're perfectly good and all they're missing is gas. Pigment re-inkers are very stable. Some of my re-inkers are over 30 years old and still going. You can always open it up and spritz some more and re-manipulate it. Not too much water. We are working on my favorite cardstock, which Creative Scrapbooker can talk to you about. It is 130 pound, good on both sides. What you do on one side doesn't affect what's happening on the other side. You can alter this puppy till the cows come home. It's my happy place. All right, I bet you could probably do this with 2 pieces of plastic wrap, okay? Whatever you've got out there, whatever is most convenient. So once you've done this, I want to add another step, but pigment ink stays wet a long time. It's a bonus. It embosses. We can blend colors. We can make our own new colors because it stays wet for a long time. To dry it instantly, I simply take a piece of paper towel, a piece of scrap paper, a piece of, I don't know, I was going to call it photocopy paper, but that would date me. Computer paper, okay? A hot iron, and it sets the ink. So you can see this piece of paper on top is just to keep the iron clean. That's all it's doing. And it dries the ink. Typically, and I'm ironing a project, I'll iron it from the back because I like that concave to work on. And you just iron it till you see that most of the glossy look from the ink is gone. This is different than using a heat gun. Number one, it's quicker. Number two, a heat gun just heats the surface of the ink, whereas an iron fries it right through. Yes, it gives it a very velvety, very suede-like feel. Okay, so let's add some more color, and we're going to alter the ink. You do have a stylus. I want you to pick up your stylus. Now, when you add foam tips, okay, it's as simple as pushing it on and pushing it off with your thumb. Don't try and do this. If you manage to get it on, it's never coming off again. It's a snap on, snap off. I'm going to prep this. We have a Top Boss pad, clear Top Boss. You can simply take your clear one and prep your stamp pad with Top Boss first. And I'm going to pick up some of that olive color. I really do. You'll watch me and see me use my scrap paper a lot. But when you combine the two, look what happens to the ink. It wants to slide. It's even wetter. It's even moister. It really wants to blend even more. And I am going to add some more of this olive color over my piece of paper where the printing gave me an olive shade. Then I will go in, and look, I used this one earlier. I'm going to go in and pick the one that I used this morning. I'm on my third one. All three colors within there. Same three colors, the olive, the peacock, and the harbor. Okay, but prepping that foam tip with the top boss to give it, let's call it slideability. How's that? Does that make sense? To give that ink even more slideability. Gotta love that. And a piece of paper looks like so. Okay, so you can see look at all the different pieces of paper that I've had here. Okay, everyone is going to be a little bit different. Never two the same, right? Notice where I've added the text message here, okay? So when I put my die cuts on this piece of paper, because I know that I'm adding this text message here, I'm going to put my die cuts up here because I'm just going to cover them with this piece. So the text, the three that you're going to use is the two flowers and the circle. Save your butterfly and your corners for another step. So I'm going to take my circle and my flower, and I'm putting them more towards the top of the page. For the simple reason is because I know I'm putting that on there. And so basically in the color catcher, okay, because we're going to spare everybody's shirt, especially everybody, be careful, she's white. Okay, and I'm just going to spray there. That was my grasshopper. And now I'm going to take the turquoise and spray there. It's not a heavy spray, okay? It's a very light spray, okay? When I lift this up, I'm going to pick up the bottom one here. I'm happy. So I'm going to simply lift them off. Great pattern, happy girl, I quit. And look, if I don't want it, could we set this aside and wait for it to dry?
No, we iron it.
Yeah, we could, but who's gonna? I'm just gonna stick another piece of paper on top of that and iron that puppy. It's called done. Okay, so your piece of paper is gonna end up like this. This is a quick process. It is dye-based ink, and dye-based ink on top of pigment ink is really cool. Okay, there's all kinds of things I do with that. I want you to spritz these two with the two colors. Notice I said spritz. I want you to think mist. I don't want you to hose it down, because what I want is a very light covering so that when you add this, you have contrast. There you go.
No, that's fine. I'm a heavy look.
Okay, so now I'm going to show you what the other white panel is for, and this is something you will have to do at home. Now I'm going to show you this. Look at how heavy this is. It's Rockstar. Okay, what do? I take another piece of paper that is slightly smaller, because on the back of this, I've taken popsicle sticks and put it on with Be Creative tape, so that when I add this piece of paper, and I will cut it a bit smaller, I've got something that I call stair art. But popsicle sticks or those wooden coffee stir sticks, but that makes for a rock star finish. That's what that second piece of paper is for, okay? So now you've got this piece done and you've got this piece done. And what we're gonna do, I also wanna show you, of course, because we're doing a base, like a collage piece, but of course, this is an 8x8 scrapbook page. I did a lot more die cuts, less spraying. I added lots more die cuts. You can do this in your art journal. You can do this as a card. The project is not the important part. The technique is the important part. So you can take it to whatever paper craft you like to do best. So let's kind of alter these die cuts a little bit more. These are nice, but they're not dark enough for me. So watch how I'm going to alter these. I'm going to use my stamp pad to make a new color. I'm going to take this one, kind of like this one. It's got some lightness up here and some darkness down there, but I want it a little darker. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to add some more of the harbor, the darkest color. I could do the whole one, but I'm just going to do the bottom. It's still not dark enough for me, so watch me take this one step further. There's another color in here. It's called espresso. When I add espresso to the harbor and go back to the harbor and blend them, I create a deeper harbor. Now that's color. So when you look at these 8 colors, they're not 8 colors because you can combine them by using the styluses and you can lighten them up, use the Top Boss ink. You probably have 8, 16, 20, anywhere, I don't know how many colors you have, endless amounts of variations of color. Okay, so your 3 pieces here, go ahead and alter them. Create colors. Start with the lighter one, add some dark, and then go back and blend with the lighter one. And you're making your own pigment color. And obviously, if you have these die cuts, okay, I've also cut all these die cuts out of Superstock as well. And so that's why your die cuts have more substance, because I don't cut die cuts out of wussy paper. The die Impression Obsession. Okay, and they're here. Impression Obsession. All of these things and the text stamp is from Impression Obsession.
You didn't go over this. Oh my God.
Well, if you have a lot of color on, it will dry and it'll be on the top. But when you iron them, it's like done. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is we're going to alter those corners and that butterfly, and we want to pop a color. And I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this. The first way I'm going to do this is going to, here I've got my one from earlier. My butterflies have been radiating color from the inside out. My corners have been radiating color from the outside in. All right. So if I do outside in here, what I will do is I will get one of these that is just used for Top Boss, period. That's all it is. Because Top Boss is also my smearer. So I'm going to take my Top Boss and blend that color out so that there is no harsh stop and stop marks. You can see how that blended the color. You can just pass it. I love doing this. Top Boss is another super multitasking stamp pad that does so much for me. So you can see when you take those 2 colors and throw them on your paper, it pops. Okay, so now we're going to put this puppy together. How to put, now this is a freshly altered surface. A lot of tape runners and glue fail on freshly altered surfaces, right? So what we're going to use is what doesn't fail, which is, I call it bead creative tape because it's my girlfriend is the wholesaler in Canada, so I call it bead creative tape. Comes in everything from this teeny tiny roll to a foot-long roll. Cool thing about this tape is it for a flat application, but if you take this piece of tape, watch what I'm going to do, put it on a non-stick surface, say as the glass, and then take off the top layer. I want you to use your fingers to roll that towards you. What it does is create a rope of adhesive.
Wow.
A very thin, very manipulable, oh, I said that right this time, rope that is oh so good for die cuts that have a lot of detail. So when I want to add a butterfly that has this much detail, this is what I'm going to use.
I love that square tape. Oh.
That's all you're going to do.
That's my favorite tip ever.
There is a wide one, so you can use just the wide one to apply this one to your, and there's 2 rolls, so I'll put this one at the end and this one here. And you can use the wide tape to apply your text image where you want to see it. You don't have to do it like I'm doing it. You can change it up. You want to do yours like this? Can you do it? You want to put yours upside down and confuse the crap out of people? You can. Look at that. You can. Everything else I 3D'd. Everything else I made adhesive ropes for. Okay? So that is how I love this stuff. Okay? If you take the wider one, like a 1 inch, and roll it, it gives you a thicker and a higher 3D rope. So it is a beautiful tape. This is how you put your project together. I hope you enjoyed what you learned today.